All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Lore Council. This is Kate, and I am joined here with Keith. Yet again, and we are hot off the heels of our Godzilla watch-along / commentary. We're recording this literally moments after, so I guess I'm not even going to bother doing spoiler-free section because if this movie's from 1954, if you haven't seen this movie in the 60 some years it's been out, you're just not going to see it at this point.
What's there to spoil?
Yeah, really. Overall, I love this movie. There are bits that, some people would probably say are slower, not really as important. But I think it just does a really good job of, building the world and actually making you care even just a little bit about, the human characters. Whereas beforehand, before this, all anyone cares about is the monster, and then usually there's, a damsel in distress a la King Kong. So, overall, I love the movie. I have watched it many times over the years. Most recently, obviously, today, when we did our commentary. But yeah, I usually watch it once or so a year. It's just a movie that I can always go back and watch.
When did you first watch it?
I first watched it, I think, when I was a kid. I think it was on, the Sci-Fi Channel one time or something. They had, a big Godzilla movie marathon. But it was the American version, so it sucked.
Oh.
But no, even when I was a kid, I loved it. Yeah, I think I saw it way back when they did a showing on TV. I don't even know if it was the Sci-Fi Channel, but they showed it on TV, and that's where I saw it. Originally, the first Godzilla movie I've seen, to get my background credentials on Godzilla, I saw Godzilla 2000, probably in the year 2000. 2001, I would have been 5 or 6 at the time, and I think my stepdad had brought it home because, obviously he would have been however old at the time, so he would have been, around in the 80s, 90s when they were putting out actual Godzilla movies, so he probably saw it, and then that was also the American version, and then for, just a long time after that, it really got me into the franchise. There were books at my elementary school library that I could get, and I read Godzilla books and had, Godzilla toys, all that good stuff. Played the cool original Xbox Godzilla games as well, so.
Interesting.
Long-time fan. So what were your thoughts on the Godzilla 1954?
I enjoyed it, as much as you could enjoy watching an older movie from the 50s. I do enjoy a lot of black and white movies, but it's pretty enjoyable. Maybe not as maybe I was a little too overhyped going in. I was not as great as I was expecting, but it's certainly pretty good. I probably would not want to watch this again. I feel like the one viewing is enough for a lifetime. And if I wanted to rewatch the Godzilla scenes, there's probably a compilation on YouTube of all his scenes, which are probably maybe 15-20 minutes of the movie or something.
Yeah, he's in the hour and a half runtime. He's not in it a ton, and a lot of the stuff is devoted to the nation's response and everything. More to Godzilla, and you get a lot more of that human element. But obviously, after this, that would certainly change. So.
Yeah, I like the government and the scientist people trying to get a handle on things, all that stuff. I felt like the character of the dude, and I know the chick's name's Emiko or something.
Emiko and Otaga.
Yeah, I thought they could have just not been in the movie and just focus everything on the military scientist side of things, just to make it a little bit more focused, since you don't in this kind of a movie, you don't really care about any of the characters anyway. It's kind of more of sorry, I muted myself. It's a monster movie spectacle. Kind of, I don't know.
I'm kind of one to disagree. I like all that stuff, the human element of it, because this movie, I would say, is less about the monster and more on the effect that it has on the world. Definitely, obviously this movie came out in 1954, 9 years after the atomic bombing in Japan, so this would still be very fresh in Japanese minds and everything, and I think it's just a really good kind of movie where, that theme of the impending doom that kind of hung over the world for half a century during like the Cold War and all the time after World War II, that something bad could always happen. Like, and obviously, it's, well, according to science, they say that nothing of Godzilla's size could ever exist. So we have that going for us. There's no nuclear lizards or anything, but obviously it's meant to be a manifestation of kind of the atrocity that was the atomic bombing and everything. So you can get into the themes a lot with Godzilla, how he's obviously meant to be a stand-in for nuclear weapons and the danger of nuclear weapons and everything, and then
Sure.
yeah, well, and then obviously the oxygen destroyer. It's like it's another thing that could have, like, I don't know. We talked about it during the watch along, but like, well, what practical use could this thing that just liquefies organic life, what could it have? But obviously humans being humans, they'd probably just use it to blow shit up. So and then obviously even at the end, like one of the very last lines is the main doctor, Dr. Yamane. He says that if nuclear weapon testing continues, like there another Godzilla could come into the future. And they have a lot of good stuff talking about, like I said, like during the watch along, like one of my favorite quotes is Godzilla was birthed in the fires of the H-bomb, like how could we ever hope to kill him? So just lots of good stuff and lots of good symbolism and all that. And also obviously it's a very dour movie, a very depressing movie.
Yeah, but the finale was a little disappointing. Because, like, you had that great, like, city destruction kind of in the middle, and then at the end, to destroy him, they just find him out in the middle of the ocean. It's a little anticlimactic. Like, it didn't feel like there was much at stake there, just like they had to stop him before he destroyed something again, but...
Well, yeah, that's kind of the point, is that, like, nothing conventional could kill this thing, so... they kind of have to stop it, otherwise, nothing really can. Then it's better than kind of living.
Oxygen destruction formula thing. It's a little too convenient.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is very like convenient that the Dr. Serizawa, that he has the oxygen destroyer, and that it just happens to be able to destroy stuff. So
that would be the only thing that could destroy Godzilla.
Yeah. Basically. And yeah, it is very convenient, but it is kind of just something to
like, I don't know why in my head I was expecting the end of the movie just to be like Godzilla just like destroying like the whole city or whatever, and the final shot would just be him like marching back into the ocean, and maybe like a random Japanese guy or something says like, oh, we'll be back someday or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as like big like kaiju movies go, yeah, it's not like the most climactic ending. Obviously we're kind of preconditioned to have like because of like more modern Godzilla movies and stuff, we're kind of preconditioned to have the big monster battle at the end where they fight and cool explosions and everything. It is a bit more of like a more subdued ending where they use science to destroy the thing that was created by science.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, plot-wise, it's pretty simple. Like some Japanese freighters are destroyed near an island, and then they send another boat to investigate. That is then destroyed, and then they do some investigating on the island, find out there's a giant lizard monster that is also radioactive, and then from there,
like the whole slow burn setup for the movie, setting up Godzilla the monster, that was really well done.
Yeah, like like kind of how they have, like, you kind of see at the beginning, like the sea. It obviously in the movie it looks more just like the sea is just like bubbling, but it's meant to be like boiling, like the ocean itself is boiling. So, but yeah, no, it's a really good like burn, like the opening scenes and everything. And then finally, yeah, you get the Godzilla reveal, and yeah, the Godzilla reveal is a little bit derpy because they used a puppet, which doesn't have the same sculpt as the actual Godzilla suit. But yeah, you get that, and it's really cool. It's just like, it's like top half is like revealed over like the hillside, and then all you get to see when it's gone are like its big footprints and everything. So
yeah, seeing this in the theater, whether the Japanese version or the American version, I probably would originally I probably would have been blown away.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure anybody who saw it was.
Yeah, and I mentioned it several times during the commentary, but like I think like the effects, like they really hold up. Like, yeah, the puppet's a little and like you mentioned, there are some scenes you can see where like they're doing stuff with cars flipping over that are very clearly like models and toys and stuff.
Yeah, my favorite part was that middle part of the movie where Godzilla is just totally, like right after the electric fence failure, he just completely goes ham on the whole city, and it's just dark and things are burning. There's like people running. There's a lady like with her kid crying, and, like destroys a radio tower. But then after that, it cuts back to the humans again, and it kind of. I thought the movie lost some steam there. Godzilla goes back into the ocean, and you don't really feel the urgency. You don't feel the urgency in those scenes because the way they're directed. It's very slow.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit more of like a slow burn kind of movie, and yeah, it's not like an action packed like super huge budget modern Hollywood movie. But I think it works really well. Like there's never been a point in time where I've watched this movie and I've been like, oh my god, this is going too slow. Yeah, you probably could cut a few scenes here and there.
that was me in just in a few of the scenes with the the couple. Like I said, the scientist stuff was interesting, or they're like explaining Godzilla and talking about it. That was super cool.
Yeah, no, and all those like press conference scenes I really like as well. And I like how they very easily could have done the thing where like, oh, nobody believes this scientist. Like, oh, you're crazy. There's no way that there's a giant lizard. Only for the giant lizard to show up. So it's really cool that like, everyone takes it seriously. I think is really cool because that's kind
Isn't that a trope in a lot of these movies?
Yeah, I was gonna say like
there's a monster.
Yeah, like in a lot of like big monster movies and stuff, they're like, "There's no way there's a big monster." But I like how in Godzilla movies in general, like it's taken like decently serious that like, oh, there's this giant radioactive lizard that just blew up half of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But yeah, from there, yeah, we get the big destruction scene. It's like a good chunk of the middle part, and then he like goes back into the ocean to take a nap and eat some fish.
Gonna go check out his underground cave pad.
Yeah, hang out in the pad with the other Godzillas. Oh my god, guys, I just blew up Tokyo. That was dope. But no, it's really good. The sound design I think is also very, very good. Nothing sounds fake, and that's very ironic considering there's a 30-meter tall radioactive lizard. Like you had mentioned, like his footsteps even.
Yeah, the footsteps are very well done, very realistic sounding to me. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, and then his roar, which is obviously like a very iconic thing. I divulged my super cool trivia on how they made it, so watch the watch along for that. But no, it sounds really good. And then we should obviously mention the Godzilla suit. Like it's really well designed. Like it looks good, and I had mentioned it. Like the black and white probably does hide some of the cheesier stuff a little bit, and then obviously his big destruction scene is set at nighttime, so that also is going to help disguise some of those things.
The real person in a real suit, and these sets and stuff.
Yeah, destroying
puppet or claymation,
Yeah, like like you said, it's a real person in a suit destroying real models that are built at like 1/20th scale or whatever.
It's really good. Probably one of the best like classic monster movie suits I've ever seen in one of these movies.
Yeah, and then obviously there are going to be different designs and everything going through. But yeah, then basically after Godzilla,
they didn't get the face exactly right though. It's kind of.
Well, I think they got the face right for the actual suit, but for the puppet, I think it looked a little derpy.
The close-up shots, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So Godzilla shows up one time. He attacks the first time. He attacks a train that's going by. Goes back in, and then they decide that they're going to construct a big 50,000 volt electric fence using power lines to try and stop him. But obviously it doesn't work, and he shows up, and yeah, you get the super cool destruction scene that follows, which is iconic. Like some of those shots, like the one of like Godzilla with the train in his mouth, I think is like a pretty iconic one that you see a lot. And just a lot of stuff like that is really good. Like you had mentioned during the watch along, like, whoa, they did that scene in the 2014 Godzilla where he like stomps on the train.
You see like the foot and everything.
Yeah, it works really, really good. And yeah, obviously everything fails. All their conventional weapons all fail. And then Emiko goes to talk to Dr. Serizawa, who developed a oxygen destroyer, which
The movie completely stops dead.
I disagree, personally. But yeah, it's not an action packed, kind of thing like I had said. But then they decide that they're going to use it after a super depressing scene highlighting the destruction with like a Japanese school choir singing.
Yeah.
Very sad. So
happened to be on at that moment.
yeah, very, very convenient. But it's a movie. Stuff happens in movies. So yeah, then they decide to do that on the one condition, basically, that he destroys all his notes and everything, so no one could ever reproduce his weapon, so that no one can ever use it, which I kind of like, because it highlights kind of that theme where, well, what if a scientist creates something and then turns out it can be used as a weapon, but the person who made it says no, kind of thing. So kind of gets into that, touches on that, and then I think this is another point to highlight that, or another time to highlight that, yeah, this is it's a dark movie. Like, there's scenes like in the post-destruction where people are like, they're in shelters from their wounds, and some of them have radiation sickness, and there's like crying kids and dead parents.
Yeah, there's this one great shot of just like the entire city just like almost flattened.
Oh, yeah. Well, and even during the nighttime attack scene, there's a lot of really cool shots of like Godzilla's silhouette against like the flaming city, and I think they call it in the movie like a sea of flames.
Yeah, it looks like they had like the actual fire like next to the guy who was in the suit. So
yeah,
it looks just really good.
But no, so they go out on a boat. They find Godzilla, and they bring down the oxygen destroyer, and Dr. Serizawa decides to stay there, so that way he takes the secret of the oxygen destroyer to his grave. No one could ever use it again. Mm-hmm. And then we get the line from Dr. Yamane that, if we keep using these, if we keep doing this nuclear testing, then, we'll probably just end up having this problem in the future, which definitely wasn't setting up a sequel.
Yeah, it definitely works on paper, but I feel like, the finale could use a little bit more boom, a little bit more pizzazz.
Yeah, I that is one thing. I think they could have moved. The one thing that I would agree on, that they could have, because, the immediate stuff, I think they should have just, right after the destruction, they should have just had Emiko and Ogata going to Dr. Serizawa, right after.
Right. And
then being like, hey, we need your thing. I think that would have worked a lot better. It would have been a little bit more urgent.
Yeah. I don't know. Or maybe if they just... no, I was going to say maybe if they set up the oxygen destroyer early, but I guess they set it up pretty early.
Yeah.
Leave it.
Yeah, and then they kind of leave it off screen, and then they kind of go back and show it again. So, no. But yeah, so that's it. A bit of a shorter review because we did a big old big old watch along for hour and 40 minutes. So if you want some more,
there's not too much to say,
Yeah, it's a pretty simple movie. It's kind of follows the vein of a lot of the older monster movies where monster shows up, destroys stuff, leaves, conclusion.
I don't know if Godzilla was the first one to have the government working on ways to stop the monster or something, but it seems like other movies after this kind of took a page out of Godzilla's book, the way it sets it up and the slow setup and everything. Right, you could a movie I don't know, Independence Day. It's not a great movie, but it kind of has that classic sort of slow monster movie kind of setup.
Yeah, no, the movie, the slow burn and everything, I think it works very well, and yeah, so overall, I would if I had to give this movie a rating, I'd say 8.5 stars out of 10.
Whoa!
Really, really good movie. I really love this movie. Yeah, it's not action packed, and there's only one big destruction scene, but overall, I don't think you can really beat I don't think he can really beat Godzilla. So
For me, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10, just for how I enjoyed it and what I thought were some shortcomings, but overall, just yeah, good movie, enjoyable. Not like amazing or anything. Certainly, like amazing in context, like of the time, right? But just for me watching it as like a modern person watching an old '50s movie, it's pretty good.
all right, anything else you wanted to add there?
Uh, oh yeah. I guess I never heard that moment in the movie where you got like that classic Godzilla theme, kind of like the brum, brum, bum, 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 I guess that comes later on in the other movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, mostly this one you get kind of that classic the ba da ba ba da ba kind of one. So
Little hints at that Godzilla, the big brum, bum, bum, bum. But yeah, that's what I got to say.
all right, cool. Well, in the near future, like I had mentioned during the watch along, we plan on doing just the whole Godzilla series, and then probably just doing watch alongs for other movies we like before we do the reviews on them. So just for a little extra stuff to the channel. So if you ever want to watch Godzilla from 1954 with our goofy commentary and kind of mystery science theater-esque little quippies, check that out. I'll put that in the description as well. So
Promise it won't ruin the movie.
it
In
will
fact,
not.
it'll enhance
It. It might. Or you might absolutely hate it and say, oh my god, these guys are not funny.
Unfortunately, we don't care.
Yeah, we just did the watch along just for a fun little thing to just do the commentary before we did the review. So be on the lookout for future Godzilla content as well as just other content from us. So if you have liked what you've seen in this video or any other videos that we put out, you should drop a subscribe to the Lore Council as we continue to grow and expand. But with that, this is Cade from the Lore Council signing off.
This is Keith, and we'll see y'all later.